Welcome to our first video. So this is an unboxing video because everyone else is doing them, so if you can't beat them, join them. This one, as you can see, is covering the recent new release of the Frighteners on 4K, which comes from German company Turbine Media. Arrow in the UK have been reportedly working on their own release, but Turbine has beaten them to it with quite a spectacular package here, which we'll go into in a bit more detail. A disclaimer first, as this is our first video, it's not ideal, a little bit out of focus in places, but I have included some stills, which you'll see, which should hopefully give a little clearer picture of the contents of the set. But without further ado, let's move on. So yeah, this set is available with two different pieces of artwork. You've got the original poster art, as well as a newly commissioned piece, which is from artist Ronan Wolf Chewat. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The contents of the boxes are both the same, whichever one you choose, so it's really just down to your preference on the external artwork. So let's take a look at what you get. First of all, really well put together box, thick card, sturdy construction, very high quality finish. Inside you've got a slipcase featuring the original artwork, and that contains all the discs that we'll get to shortly. You also get a book here of writing about the film and Peter Jackson in general, a collection of publicity stills, there they are, a couple of posters again, the new artwork as well as the original. Take your pick, get a frame, get them on the wall if you like. And then finally a replica Frank Bannister business card, and he's the character played by Michael J. Fox in the film. So starting with the stills then, just a collection of publicity stills, production artwork, cast and crew photos. Just very nice finish on these, high quality paper that they're on off thin card. Yep, nice little collection there. The book, then we've got a lot of writing in the book here about the making of the film, the history of Peter Jackson's work, Weta, etc. Lots of production artwork, stills, technical information on aspects of the film as well. Unfortunately, ich kann kein Deutsch lesen, so I can't really tell you much about what it says. But it is a really nicely presented book. Again, very high quality, and it looks nice. So onto the discs themselves, and here this is a 6-disc set. We get the director's cut on 4K and Blu-ray, brand new remastering from the original negative and approved by Peter Jackson. We also get the theatrical cut again on 4K and Blu-ray. Again, this is a new remastering, and again approved by Peter Jackson. As you can see, the discs are very securely held in there, no problem with them coming loose. The 5th and 6th discs, there is a bonus disc that features a 90-odd minute new documentary featuring interviews with some of the crew, as well as the original 270-minute making of documentary. We also get the open matte version of the theatrical cut, which has never been released before. I'll go through that in a little more detail later on, but that's once again director approved. That's just on Blu-ray, not on 4K. And then on the back you can see some nice character artwork as that is unfolded. So yeah, there's some really nice stuff in here. In terms of the transfer, as I say, that is a new 4K remastering of both versions of the film. It looks incredible. I haven't included any 4K screenshots here because this is only a 1080p video and it's not in HDR. So there's not really going to be much benefit in that. But the 4K image looks absolutely stunning, and the HDR does a great job of, as usual, the nice highlights, dark shadows, and kind of all the colours in between having a nice pop to them. Now, as I said before, Arrow is working on their own version of this. Apparently, this transfer is a German exclusive. So, if Arrow want to do a 4K release, they are either have to going to source a new remastering from elsewhere, perhaps Universal in the States, or make their own. Um, at least for the next few years, this is a German exclusive on this transfer. So it'll be interesting to see when Arrow do eventually release theirs, what they might do differently, if anything, in terms of the colour grade and if they're possible to do any additional cleanup. I think they'd be hard pressed, to be honest, because this really does look like a fantastic transfer. For audio, we've got a phenomenal Atmos track, which is included on the director's cut 4K and Blu-ray discs. If you've got an Atmos setup, this is the kind of new demo level track to use. We've got sound coming from everywhere in the room, front, back, left, right, above your head, and a tremendous use of the bass channel. The theatrical cut includes just a DTS Master Audio HD track 5.1. Obviously not as good as the Atmos, but very good in its own right. You're not going to be disappointed. It's a shame the theatrical cut couldn't include Atmos as well, but there we are. Either track is very impressive, but as I say, if you've got Atmos, that's definitely the one to watch. In terms of extras, then, so we've got a disc of documentaries. There's one which is about 95 minutes long, which is a new collection of interviews with some of the crew, looking back at the making of the film, how it affected their careers. Obviously, it was made a long time ago. Many of them were just starting out in the industry, and it's interesting to see kind of what they thought of the work at the time and where compared to where they are now. The other piece is approximately 270 minutes long, making of the Frighteners, which is originally produced for the film's Laserdisc release, and it has been included, I think, on DVD and Blu-ray releases in the past, and thankfully it's been included here as well. 270 minutes is long. Now, about 45 minutes of that is looking at storyboards and is essentially an animated storyboard, which covers the bulk of the film. So if you want to kind of save yourself a bit of time, if storyboards are not your thing, you can skip that section and save 3/4 of an hour. The rest of it is absolutely fascinating. Covers the development of the film. Originally, it was planned as part of a Tales from the Crypt anthology series. The development of Weta at the time. Peter Jackson had just come off his Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, and Brain Dead trilogy. He had some commercial and critical success with Heavenly Creatures, and he was just getting Weta Workshop and Weta Digital off the ground off the back of that film. And so it's really interesting to see here how, a pre Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson and Weta were really trying out some very new cutting edge things here, working out in New Zealand. And obviously Weta since then have gone on to obviously Lord of the Rings, Avatar, you name it. If it's a big budget special effects filled film, Weta's name is going to be in there somewhere. So the final disc is a nice little curiosity. It's an open matte version of the theatrical cut. So that's not the same as a pan and scan, which is obviously what we used to have in the olden days, where an old widescreen 2.35 film had to be transferred onto a 4:3 television presentation. What this is the film was shot on Super 35mm film, which is essentially a 1:1.85 frame, and then is cropped to usually a 2.35:1 ratio, the widescreen ratio that most people are familiar with, for theatrical release and widescreen home video release. But what it allows the director to do is gives them a little bit more freedom in how they crop the image. It could just be simply removing the same amount of information or cropping the same amount of information from the top and bottom of the screen and just having the center of the frame there, or they could crop a little bit higher or a little bit lower in the frame depending on the shot. What it does mean is when it comes to home video that there doesn't have to be such aggressive pan and scan, because rather than zooming in and cropping a ton of information from the left and right, you essentially just remove the cropping from the top and the bottom, which gives you more picture information than pan and scanning would do. You get more information on the top and the bottom of the frame. There's sometimes a little bit of cropping still going on the left and the right, but barely any. You'll see in the example screenshots here what I mean by that. But yeah, it just gives the director a little bit more freedom, and it means that when there is a full screen or 1.185 or 16:9, whatever you want to call it, home video release, it's not completely butchering the image with some crude pan and scan work. Some of the framing on this open matte version does look a little bit better, gives a little bit more room to the shots, but I think on the whole the 2.35:1 framing is better. It kind of focuses the image a little bit more, brings the viewer's attention in a little bit more. It's a bit more kind of intensity and intimacy on some of the shots is better. But it's definitely nice to have it here as a curiosity. It's the theatrical cut, as I say, but it is approved by Peter Jackson, and I believe it's the first time it's been released anywhere in this version. So it's certainly one to watch, and as you can see from the screenshots I've included, it gives a different look to some of the shots. Whether you like that or not is obviously personal preference, but it's certainly worth having. So overall, I think you can see this is a spectacular set. I'll include links to Turbine Media in the description. The release is region free on both 4K and Blu-ray disc. Turbine thankfully do ship outside of Germany, so if you have the cash, it's well worth picking up. So there we are, our first unboxing video. Professional, high quality production, I'm sure you'll agree. Please do leave some comments if you want more of this kind of thing. Please do let us know, and we'll see what we can do. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, etc., etc., and we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.